Rome hostel. Heading for the ferry, a little bit late. And morning all. The day I decide to leave is the day it decides to rain all morning. First time it's rained in the morning. Yeah, it's not a big ride today, but it was absolutely pouring down with rain when I woke up this morning. It does, most nights it does rain, but it doesn't normally keep raining. Anyway, that's how it is. We've got a few minutes ride to the ferry, then a 10-15 minute crossing, and then fairly easy, fairly flat 100k north to Ala Setar. Our friends at the fire station. Just 2 minutes ride from the hostel to the ferry. Got to buy a ticket, only using credit cards for the 2 ringgit 36 pence ticket.
Okay, sir.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama.
Ticket bought, all very simple. Should be in 5 minutes, only one guy waiting, but maybe it doesn't run tightly to schedule. Check out this old ferry, had a good paint job. Oh, 9:28 on schedule. Right place. Here we go. Japanese precision, 9:30, we're off. Goodbye Georgetown, goodbye Pulau Penang, Penang Island. There's the bridge we couldn't ride across. You can go across it, that's why it's on Strava heat maps, during bike events apparently, so slightly confusing. Say goodbye to the hills, does seem like the rain stopped, and 10 minutes we'll be onto the mainland. Back onto the mainland. Still in Penang State, but I'll explain my plans in a minute. Last look back at Georgetown. Feels like I've been there a lifetime. I was staying in a hostel, what they call a one more night hostel, one more day hostel, because I checked in for 2 days, and every day, can I stay one more day please? In the end I stayed for 8. Partly because I just loved it there and there were some good climbs and excellent food, and also because I didn't quite get my act together to book the next, well, to make a decision and to book the next part of the journey, because the decision needed to be made. Riding through the wonderfully named Butterworth, named after, I think, William Butterworth, one of the first governors of the Straits of Malacca, or some such business. Home to the railway station for Penang. Butterworth Fire Brigade. Don't think they'll be busy today. It's just wet everywhere. Yeah, so the original plan, actually there was no original plan. The original plan was fly to KL, Kuala Lumpur, and get back to Hat Yai somehow. But then a plan developed to cross the border at Betong, northeast Malaysia, ride through Yala, the most southerly province of Thailand, and back up to Hat Yai that way. However, I then discovered that rather like Chiang Mai and the north of Thailand got hit by the worst flooding in living memory in September, now northeastern Malaysia and southern Thailand is getting the same thing. And that's partly why I was cooling my heels in Penang, waiting for the floods to recede and waiting for news. And during that waiting, I just thought, sod it, let's go to Langkawi. Butterworth Air Force Base. So that means today, riding north from Penang to Alor Setar, only 100 kilometers, and the only climb registering on my computer is a climb of 0.0 kilometers, so basically flat, damp as I said, probably quite uninteresting. And then we'll stay the night in Alor Setar, because tomorrow morning we've got a ferry over to Langkawi, which is, if you don't know it, another island off the west coast of Malaysia. We'll be moving up into Kedah state, which has also experienced some quite bad flooding, so let's see what we get. Out of Butterworth city into the green, rice fields, mountains, does seem to be clearing up. Somewhere in, oh look, there's a heron. Somewhere in the distance is a range of mountains known as the Titi Wangsa. I tried to do that with a straight face. The Titi Wangsa. Take 3. Somewhere to the northeast of here is the range of mountains known as the Titi Wangsa Mountains, which there's no way I could go visit and video and keep a straight face. Anyway, we'll keep the Titi Wangsa for another day. Okay, entering into Kedah state. No sign of flooding so far. In fact, it has stopped raining. Roads are drying out, but there seems to be a continual headwind, so swings and roundabouts. We're passing through Sungai Batu archaeological site, said to be the oldest Southeast Asian civilization. I haven't got a year for you, but in amidst the oil plantations, the palm oil plantations, you never know what you're going to find here. We're off the main road now, finally. We're generally heading north, but there's a big mountain, you can probably just see in the distance, blocking our route. So we're now cutting west, and we're going to hit the coast in a few kilometers, and then basically we're just going to ride north up the coast, pretty much all the way to Alor Setar. I could do this probably quite comfortably on one tank, as it were. I had my breakfast, masala dosa, got 2 bottles of water, but if I see a little snacky place, I'll stop for a drink, not in any great hurry. Should be there around 2 p.m. or so. We hit the coast and we're following the coast up, but we're like a few hundred meters inland, so I got a few tantalizing glances. So I'm just taking a little side road. Oh, lovely flash of blue from some bird there. And we'll just come down and see the beach. Sky and the water are similar colours today. Yeah, there's a little harbour here. Rice field. Ocean. Oh, that's the end of the line. Beach. All the way up, all the way along the coast of Peninsula of Malaysia. Found some nice gravel paths through the rice fields as we get nearer to Lower Seta. Nice to get away from the traffic, if only for a few kilometres. This one's actually paved, but it's pretty narrow and there doesn't seem to be any traffic on it. And it's heading straight towards Lower Seta, so perfect. It's very reminiscent of Hoi An in Vietnam. These paths through the rice fields, hills in the distance, looks just like central Vietnam. A few K into town, find somewhere to stay. Apparently there's some good food courts there, so I think we'll eat well. And then yeah, we'll just chill, and then tomorrow morning I think I've got a ferry at 10:30 in the morning. I could have taken one this evening, but it's an hour and a half and it would have arrived at sunset, and the area I'm going to on Langkawi is 20k away, so better to stay on the mainland for a night and then ride over in the morning. Out of the rice fields, over the big river, coming into Lower Seta, quite a big city I think. Got a hotel in mind, so we're going to go and check that out, see how it is, see if there's room for the bike. G9 Hotel, this is where I stayed last night. Lower Seta turned out to be a big old city, so big old cities, a little bit harder to find accommodation in than small towns. But I did find one, a little bit in the middle of nowhere, a bit of a sort of industrial estate, but I found food, there's a 7-Eleven, so all was good. And now it's time to head for Langkawi. I'm assuming Lower Seta is the capital of Kedah State. Certainly big enough. Big old tower, one of the biggest towers outside of KL. Lovely mosque. But around here, where I've been staying, different story. We've got about 12k to ride to the ferry, and then about an hour and a half crossing, something like that. It's a nice morning, the sun's back. Not too hot. Where are we? 24 degrees? Perfect. And I seem to have found a nice little route on back roads. Strava, in my experience, is hopeless. It's good for routing, for plotting routes, but it's not good for choosing routes. It doesn't select the best sort of cycling routes. Maps.me, however, is very useful. It's a very useful resource generally because it's all offline, so you download the region, country, before you travel, and then you've got it when you arrive, even if there's no Wi-Fi when you arrive in a new city, when you're touring. It's also really good for, as I say, for cycle routes and for sort of small roads, lanes, footpaths, that kind of thing. Maps.me. Over the river. River seems to be a dam as well. Yeah, definitely lower on that side. Seems, although I heard of warnings of floods in Kedah, around here seems to be okay, but that looks like a lot of sandbags to me, so clearly there were issues. In a few days' time, when I head for the border with Thailand at Padang Besar, definitely flood warning, so we've got to see how that goes. I'm leaving, in theory, plenty of time. Back on these lovely, I'll call them motorbike lanes, motorbike roads, although you do get the occasional car, but it's mostly motorbikes, the odd bicycle, people walking, people out fishing. And we've got a few K to go, mostly on these trails, I think. Into the port. I've sort of had breakfast. That doesn't mean I won't have a second breakfast. Let's go just check that the ferry is leaving when it says it is, and I've got the right ticket. Into the ferry, fellow cyclists. Selamat pagi. I've just been told I'm not supposed to take a bicycle. We're trying our luck. Okay, this kind gentleman helped me. I got some plastic bags from the shop, the biggest ones they had, and wrapped it very poorly. And now I've got to pay for it as well. Oh well, lesson learned, should have asked. Okay, we try again with my shoddily packed bicycle. But I did have to pay another 25 ringgit. Cats everywhere. Now it's cargo, so the ticket was 25 for me and another 25 for the bike. And we've arrived safely in one piece. I think the bike's all right. And on to Langkawi Island. Riding out of the port onto Langkawi Island, and we're going to ride round to where we're going to stay, Penang Beach, and we're going to go past the main ferry, which is a ro-ro ferry. So that's the one we want to get back. So I'm going to stop off there and just find out prices and times, so we don't mess up on the way back and have to start messing around with dustbin bags. Anyway, we got away with it. That's the main thing. I thought I was in trouble there. I was going to miss my ferry and have to ride another 50 kilometers further north to get the big one. Anyway, all good. Welcome to Langkawi. Slight detour just to come and see this rather grand tower. They do like a tower in Malaysia. Maha Tower, a great tower. Quick lunch before I move on. And the inevitable ricasi, chicken rice, iced tea, but it looks like I got a milky iced tea, which I didn't want. Sometimes you just get what you get. Great grub, absolutely superb. 6 ringgit for the food. It's like 50 pound, 50 baht maybe. You just sort of, with nasi kandar, you just sort of select what you want. You get the rice and then you get the gravy, which is the sauce from the curries. Do you want it spicy, they ask? Oh yes please, it was very spicy. And even the milky iced tea was pretty good. So good lunch, now round to Langkawi Port. If you're into professional cycling, watching that is, or racing, you'll have heard of Langkawi because the Tour of Langkawi is a professional road race. I think it happens fairly late in the year, so it may have been on recently. I knew it was Malaysia, I didn't know where, but it's around Langkawi. And it even goes on to the mainland because on one of the climbs I did, I looked at the leaderboard and Egan Bernal was on there. Anyway, we're going to chill a bit. We're going to do a couple of tours of the island. I've got a couple of routes, a couple of climbs, but nothing quite as horrific as Penang. Woo! Definitely 10 out of 10 for road paving and roadside tree planting. Nice shade. Into Langkawi port. See if we can get the information we need. Information centre, that'll do, mate. Okay, 9:30 in the morning, a little bit later than I wanted to leave. So we'll have to work out the trip because we've got to ride to the border, cross over, which can be a hassle, and then get to Hat Yai. So we will need, as usual, a plan B, I think. Penang Beach. Soluna Guest House. This is where my friends are staying, Elia and Michelle, so that's nice. I haven't seen them yet, but I've checked in. I've got the last bed in the dorm and it's right under the AC, which isn't great, but hopefully I can move tomorrow. But it's a nice little place, little garden, kitchen, everything I need.